to Vrindavan, especially this time of the year. Now that Karthik has started, Vrindavan is truly a magical place. So please join me. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jashodharana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Varachari. Jashodharana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Varachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Jashodhana Dana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Varachari. Jashodhana Dana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Varachari. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Before we start today's topic of discussion, let's invoke the blessings and mercy of all senior Vaishnavas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and our beloved Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalum Pangum Langayade Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamutiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Jai. So, today, the topic of today's discussion, now that we have our Kartik month going, is actually about deity worship. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself talks about deity worship. So Lord Krishna instructs Uddhava on the process of deity worship, and that's there in Canto 11, Chapter 27. I didn't know about this, only when I was preparing for the class I came to know. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So just a summary that I could read the summary of the, we can go like in an hour, we can't go over the whole of the 27th chapter, but at least I thought we could read the summary and then discuss from there on. So in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead explains the process of Kriya Yoga or deity worship. Worshipping the deity form of the Supreme Lord automatically brings purity and satisfaction to the mind. Thus, it is the source of all desirable gains. If a person has no engagement in deity service, he will simply remain attracted to material sense gratification, and he will have no hope of giving up bad association. The personality of Godhead has given instruction among the regulations of the Shatwata scriptures on the process of worshipping him as the bona fide deity. Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Vyasa, and all other sages have recommended this process, described by the Lord as most perfectly beneficial for all occupational classes and spiritual orders of human society, including women and Shudras. So there are three varieties of Archana, deity worship, based on either the original Vedas, the secondary Tantras, or a combination of these. The deity image, the ground, the fire, the sun, the water, and the heart of a worshipper are all true locations of the deity's presence. The deity form to be worshipped may be constructed of any one of 8 substances. We'll talk about that in more detail. These categories are further subdivided into temporary and permanent. The details of the worshipping process are as follows. The devotee should bathe both physically and by chanting mantras, and then he should perform the utterance of Gayatri at the prescribed juncture of the day. He should arrange his seat facing east or north, or else facing the deity directly, and should bathe and clean the deity. Then he should present clothing and ornaments, sprinkle water on the vessels and other paraphernalia to be used in the worship, and offer water for bathing the deity's feet, arghya, water for washing his mouth, fragrant oils, incense, lamps, flowers, and food preparations. After this, one should worship the Lord's personal servant, bodyguards, his consort energies, and the spiritual masters by chanting their respective Mula mantras. The worshippers should recite prayers from the Puranas and other sources, offer obeisances flat on the ground, beg for benediction, and place on himself the remnants of the Lord's garlands. Included in this method of deity worship are the proper installation of the transcendental deity by constructing a fine temple and also the conducting of procession and other festivals. By worshipping Lord Sri Hari with unconditional devotion in this manner, one gains access to pure, loving service to his lotus feet. But if one steals property that has been given as charity to the deity or Brahmana, whether given by himself or by others, he will have to take his birth again as a stool-eating worm. Chai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada's disciples who have written purports on these, on this chapter and on this canto. All glories. So that was a summary of chapter 11, Canto 11, chapter 27. So how this whole discussion came about is when Uddhava asks the Lord, Lord, please tell me what is the best way to worship you in deity form. Just imagine, where would we all be if it weren't for exalted devotees like Arjuna and Uddhava, who were not there to ask questions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly for clarity, direction, and guidance, right? We got the Bhagavad Gita and now this. So our topic of discussion begins with a wonderful question posed by Uddhava to the Lord. He asks the Lord, my dear Lord, O Master of the devotees, please explain to me the prescribed method of worshipping you in your deity form. What are the qualifications of those deities who worship you in the deity form? On what basis should they worship you in your deity form? And what is the specific method of worshipping you in your deity form? So in answer to these questions, Lord Krishna explains the essence of deity worship, which is the 27th chapter of the 11th canto. So our mentality is when we do something, we expect a reward or benefit for doing it, right? So one may wonder, what's the benefit or reward of performing deity worship? So the Lord answers this as well, although it wasn't necessarily a part of Uddhava's query, because the Lord knows the minds of the Mudas and the Mandas who will soon follow us. So first he mentions the secondary benefits and then the ultimate and primary goal of deity worship. He said that when one offers deity gifts in the form of land, markets, cities, and villages, so that regular daily worship and special festivals of deity may go on continually, then that person will achieve opulence equal to his own. And that's a sort of mukti, and that mukti is called sarshti mukti. I will quickly touch upon the 5 kinds of muktis that are present to one who is interested in it. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Text 45, the 5 kinds of muktis are mentioned. They are Yadyapi se mukti haya pancha parakara salokya samipya sarupya sarshti sayuja ara. Translation. There are 5 kinds of liberation. Salokya, samipya, sarupya, sarshti, and sayuja. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions the 5 types of liberation are, Salokya means that after material liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Quite easy to remember, Sa Lokya. So you go to the Loka where the Lord resides. Samipya means remaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Samipya. So we're very fortunate, I think, at least whoever knows some of the Indian languages, that since Sanskrit is the mother of all these Indian languages, some of our local languages also has some relation to it. At least I think in Malayalam, Samipya means like, or Hindi, I'm not sure, like closeness. So similarly, Samipya, it means remaining an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarupya means attaining the 4-handed form, Rupa, of the Lord, exactly like the Lord, Narayana form. So that's Sarupya. The 4th one is Sarshti, which we just mentioned, attaining opulences like those of the Supreme Lord. So if one gives in charity land, a marketplace, a village for the worship of the Lord, or to conduct festivals for the Lord, then they attain this liberation, Sarshti. And the final one, which is least looked upon by devotees, is Sayuja. Sayuja. It means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. This is not really aspired by devotees, but is aspired by yogis and jnanis. So the Lord continues to explain the secondary benefit of the deity worship. That's one of the secondary benefits. The second one he says is, by installing the deity of the Lord, one becomes king of the entire earth. By building a temple of the Lord, one becomes the ruler of the 3 worlds. And by worshipping and serving the deity, one goes to the planet of the Lord, Brahma, and by performing all three of these activities, one achieves transcendental form like his own, which? Yes, Sarupya Mukti, as I just mentioned. So, is that clear? Yeah. And then finally, Krishna mentions what is the ultimate goal or benefit of performing deity worship. So, one who simply engages in devotional service with no consideration of fruitive results attains me. That's what Krishna says. Thus, whoever worships me according to the process I have described will ultimately attain pure devotional service unto me. Jai. So, we're all in for the ultimate goal. Yeah. We don't want to be rulers of the three worlds. No? Right. So, such are the glories of deity worship. Therefore, devotees are advised to take advantage of such a wonderful process of performing deity worship. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, if you, he says that if you don't have something to die for, then you have nothing to live for. It's actually a common phrase amongst millennials who say, "Oh, I die for a cheeseburger right now," or "I die to get my hands on the latest iPhone 12," or "I die to become the VP of Unilever and marketing," or whatever. They're always dying for something. That is people's nature. Everybody's going to die for something or the other. And in general, people are dying for material sense objects, which unfortunately, much to their dismay, in due course of time perishes. What perishes? Both the enjoyer and the enjoyed object. Now, how would it feel to have the object of one's attention, love, and life as the absolute truth? That or he which never perishes but is eternal. It's a better perspective, right? So when one makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Lord himself in the form of his deity, then as we discussed, we get what? We get the ultimate goal of life, which is to go back home, back to Godhead. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.128, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains to Rupa Goswami that Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathura Vasa Sri Murtera Shraddhaya Sevan Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathura Vasa Sri Murtera Shraddhaya Sevan. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura or the place of the Lord's residence, and worship closely. And finally, worshiping the deities of the Lord with faith and veneration. So, a practitioner of devotional service is encouraged to take up 5 items of devotional service, which are very important out of, 64 items of devotional service that are available to one. And by following these 5 processes, one can advance in their spiritual journey very, very quickly. We're so fortunate that, for instance, I'm aware that His Holiness Radha Maharaj is doing a Damodar Yatra. Sure, so many different sannyasis are doing different things like this. And we're so fortunate that even though we can't be there, physically, virtually, they're making it possible for us now during this holy month of Kartik. So please don't miss out. It's noteworthy that we also are aware of the 9 processes of devotional service. Who said that? Prahlad Maharaj. Yes, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 23, Srila Prahlad Maharaj says, Shri Prahlada Vacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Translation, Prahlad Maharaj says, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, and paraphernalias and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them and serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with the 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord as one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. So if we compare these two, we can notice that there are 3 processes that are common between both these descriptions. And what are they? Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Archanam. Archanam. So we know Shravana and Kirtanam's importance, but even Archanam. So imagine how significant they are. As I was preparing for this topic, my dear husband and friend, His Grace Narottam Velasquez, proposed a question in front of me. He said that, what if someone asks you after the class, like, we know the Yuga Dharma, which is Harir Nam, Harir Nam, Harir Nameva Kevalam, Khalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatar Anyata. This is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 6.242. So in this age of quarrel, hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. So if chanting the holy name of the Lord is the only way and is the Yuga Dharma, then why we bother to worship deities, right? If chanting the holy name is so powerful, which is the fact, then why, after all, worship deities? Any thoughts? Would anyone like to share? I know we're not sharing or even switching on our cameras. Though I think the reason we joined Zoom was for that, but if anyone would like to share, kindly feel free to unmute. Do you know why, in spite chanting of the holy name being the Yoga Dharma, we're encouraged to do deity worship?
Is it, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it because once we start chanting the holy name, there is automatic attraction towards the Lord, and then there is a desire to serve another form of the Lord other than the name of the Lord, which could be the deity form, the Archavigraha form. So the desire to serve the Lord in more than one ways arises, but it's not necessary. That would be my one understanding.
Yeah. Well, that's a very nice understanding. Thank you for sharing. I didn't think of it in that aspect, but thank you. Yeah, thank you. See, this is why it's so nice to share, because we can hear different devotees' realizations. Anybody else would like to share? All right. So while I was reading and researching more on this, it was said that acharyas have actually advised us to engage in deity worship, because archana is considered as an auxiliary, or it's considered supplementary to our Shravana and Kirtan, because archana or deity worship helps one reduce material contamination and non-devotional tendencies. It makes sense, right? You have a desire, oh, I want to go out and eat. And then you think, oh my God, what am I going to feed my deities? Okay, fine, I'll cook the same thing at home, feed them and eat. So then non-devotional tendencies are curbed. And material contamination. Oh, I'll go watch a movie. Oh, what will my poor deities do at home alone? Fine, I'll sit and read to them or like sing some bhajan and kirtan to them. So that's material contaminations reduced. Some of what me and Narottam Velasquez was discussing was that he mentioned two aspects. He said that if one performs deity worship or is engaged in deity worship, you will automatically start dovetailing anything you get, anything you buy, anything you even see in the service of deities. That's true, right? If you have deities at home, you see a flower growing in a garden, sometimes it's prohibited, but like so, at your own risk, you can do this. You see some flowers growing in a garden, you immediately think, oh, I wish I can offer these flowers to my deities. Some of us go and pluck it even and just like look around. But my point is, you see how you can utilize anything in the service of your deities. Similarly, you go shopping. I remember talking to Premarupa Madhavi Devi, and she's like, oh, earlier when I used to go shopping, I used to be so focused on what I'll buy. Sanvi, like, matching her dress and everything. No, I'm so focused on what to buy Jagnabali, Subhadramani, what all ornaments they need. So automatically, we just start dovetailing anything and everything in their service. So that's a wonderful aspect of performing deity service. Another aspect is cleanliness. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, himself says that there are no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy name. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita. Niyamita Smaranena Kala. There's no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy name. No matter what, when, how, whatever you're doing, even if you're in the washroom, you can chant the holy name. But can we do that with deity worship? No. Now, for our deity worship to be, for our chanting to be deeper, we need pure hearts. And something that helps with cleaning both inside and outside is deity worship. Because cleanliness is next to godliness, and with deity worship, we need to maintain some sort of standard as prescribed by the Shastras and the Pancharatrika Vidhi, which we'll discuss in more detail as we go forward. So, cleanliness will be developed, and deity worship helps us cultivate that mood of being clean. Our kitchen, for instance, is an extension actually of our temple. We had Radhakata Mataji visit us from Hungary. She did the wonderful service of repainting and like giving our Nitai Sachinandan a facial. My mom calls any kind of deity renovation facial. So she helped with that. And when she visited our temple kitchen to be exact, she said that, oh, I've never seen a temple kitchen so clean. Like she's like, oh, we could even have prasad on the floor of the kitchen, which we can't. But her point was it was so clean. So all glories to our temple management. I don't think any actual management members sit and scrub the floor of the temple. So they do that, and all glories. So cleanliness is super important, and the Lord sees that. And kitchen is an extension of our temple. Now, who can say that they're free from material contamination or non-devotional tendencies? In fact, every conditioned soul is very much contaminated. And by worshipping deities, it brings like steadiness to our materially agitated mind. That's the point that Pramakarna Prabhu was mentioning. So that we want to worship something else apart from, once we develop that taste, and that helps control our materially agitated mind. So therefore, for every sadhaka, one should adopt deity worship to the best of, well, their capacity. Let's take the instance of, say, or the activity of a catalyst. Any chemistry majors in the house? So just like a catalyst, if it's added to any chemical reaction, what happens? This chemical reaction will take place extremely quickly, right? So the catalyst was not there also, the chemical reaction will take place, but it may take longer to get the final result. So therefore, a catalyst is added just to fasten the process. Similarly, hearing and chanting is in fact sufficient for any conditioned soul to perfect one's life. However, acharyas are given a catalyst, and that catalyst is deity worship. When we hear and chant, coupled with deity worship, then it expedites the process, and one can achieve the perfection of life quite quickly. Now, we're talking about deity worship. One would wonder, like, how can we worship the Archa Vigraha? And that's one of the questions Uddhava asked the Lord. So in reply to Uddhava's query regarding this, Krishna mentions there are three ways. The Vedic method of worshipping the deities, the Tantric method of worshipping the deities, and a combination of both. We Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we follow the third method, a combination of both, which is basically the Pancharatrika method of worship. When Srila Prabhupada actually went to New Vrindavan and he saw Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra, he told the devotees there that there are two paths of devotional service. One is the Pancharatrika Vidhi, and the other is the Bhagavat Vidhi. All of us are aware. Pancharatrika Vidhi is nothing but deity worship, and Bhagavat Vidhi is nothing but hearing and chanting. Srila Prabhupada continues, he says that if we are not taking care of our Bhagavat Vidhi properly, that is hearing and chanting the Lord's holy names and glories, then this Pancharatrika Vidhi, that is deity worship, will become a big burden. Unfortunately, we're aware of how some devotees were not able to maintain, hope that never happens, but maintain deity worship. They had to give up deity worship. They had to close or like box up their deities or give them off to someone else. Why? Because of concerns in their hearing and chanting. I really hope it never happens to anyone, but it happens. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada warned the devotees that when we won't take care of our hearing and chanting properly, then vigraha becomes galagraha. It becomes too much for us to bear or too much for us to continue on with. So is there we can think, is there any difference between the two-legged social animals, aka human beings, and the four-legged animals? Just to see why we need to do deity worship, I'm asking this question. If we notice cows, for instance, they have what do? They're just grazing all day long, and then after that, when they're not grazing or they're done with like actually honoring grass, they sit and what do? Punuscharvita charvanana. They regurgitate and they keep chewing the same thing. So they're literally eating all day long. Well, thanks to them, we get milk, which is extremely important. But they're eating all day long. Can we do that? No. If we have a heavy prasad, lunch prasad, we then postpone dinner. We have an extremely light dinner. We even skip dinner. So we can't eat that much. How about sleep? There are some days where we sleep for very less hours and then we wake up, make up the next day by sleeping for 8 hours, 12 hours. Some people even sleep for 24 hours because of their schedule, whatever it may be. But can we sleep more than that? Can we sleep for 6 months straight? Only Kumbhakarna could. He was an asura with a lot of mystic power, but can we? We can't. But do you know that the polar bear can sleep for straight 6 months? How is that possible? It is possible. And the conclusion is that human beings are not meant for these mundane activities. Simple, right? Super logical. Human beings have been awarded a special gift, and that is this body. And we have been endowed with this ability to love someone and serve someone. So it is our chance to take advantage of this loving form, or to take chance to love the form of the Lord in the form of his deity and serve him. The truth is, since enjoyment can be done only during a certain period of lifetime, right? Like, and that's mostly during youth. People usually say that, oh, I wanted to enjoy so much during my youth, but I didn't have money. And then when I got money, which later on in life, then I don't have my youth to enjoy. So I needed my body, and then it's now dwindled because of wear and tear. So youth is the time that people can maximize, and that's when they do all wild things. But for devotional service, we can take examples of all our acharyas. So many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, wherein at any age, devotional service can be performed, unlike material activities or material sense gratification or material enjoyment. In the womb of his mother, Prahlad Maharaj started Shravan, right? He started devotional service. He accepted a guru. He took initiation. Who else? Dhruva Maharaj, at the age of 5, he attained what yogis and siddhis have been doing for millions and thousands of years. Like if you go to Kumbh Mela, they say that we see, people see yogis who are like 400, 500, 300 years old. I don't know if 1,000, but I've not seen, but we read that they see such people exist. So they have not attained what they wanted to attain, but this 5-year-old boy attained it. Who else? We can see examples of our great Acharya, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who wrote Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we've been quoting so much. At the age of 90 plus, it's mentioned that he had started his work on Chaitanya Charitamrita. That means devotional service can be done at any ripe old age. Chakat Madhavendra Puri, he served his deity at a very old age. Our own Srila Prabhupada was giving puppets to the Srimad Bhagavatam literally till his last breath. We have seen the transcendental bed on which Srila Prabhupada laid and continued his service to his Guru, to the Lord, and to the society at large. This goes to show again how devotional service is possible in any phase of one's life. How about Srila Bhishma Dev? Bhishma Pitamaha, one of the 12 Mahajans, he was speaking the glories of the Lord and other scriptural injunctions. He was teaching his grandson how to conduct a Krishna conscious nation, how to run a nation, while sleeping on his deathbed, the bed of arrows. And this again goes to show how the human form of life is meant for serving and not for enjoying, right? Ajamila, his last breath he called Narayana, and he too was able to perform devotional service in that matter. Now that we have established that, we have to take care in deciding, or due diligence has to be given in deciding whom to serve and whom to love. So, therefore, the Lord has given us the process of deity worship. He Himself has given us. It is mentioned in the scriptures that that the Lord has 5 forms in which we can worship Him. The first is para, then vyuha, vaibhava, antaryami, and archa vigraha. We'll talk about which of these 5 forms of the Lord is most accessible to us. And I'll explain what they mean also. So the first one is para. Para is the form of the Lord which exists in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha and in Goloka Vrindavan. Supreme Personality Godhead as Himself is para. Second one is Vyuha. And we know of the Chaturvyuha, namely Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. And they are also in the spiritual world, so we can access them. Third is Vaibhava. So the avatars of the Lord takes the Dashavatar, so many other avatars, Leela avatar, Guna avatar. All these avatars they come and go. So they are called as Vaibhava. Although they are unlimited, they come, they perform their pastimes, and they bid goodbye, they don't stay. And the fourth is Antaryami. It's the Paramatma in one's own heart. The sensation that we feel when we do something wrong is because there is someone in our heart asking, are you doing the right thing? The Lord is giving us some indication saying, it's better if you don't do what you're doing right now. And all this feeling we have is the Antaryami or Paramatma in our heart. And the fifth form of the Lord is Archa Vigraha. The Lord comes as Himself in the form of Archa Vigraha. And He is the closest and the most accessible form for us. It is our greatest blessing and fortune that the Lord Himself makes Himself available to us in the form of a deity, right? He's waiting. Some devotees during deity worship, when devotee was mentioning the Gauranitai stand with their hands raised, they're like, and when the devotees dress them up, they're completely at the mercy of the devotees. Oh my God, please don't poke me with a pin. They're surrendered to the devotee who's dressing them. That's their mood. Who will do that? Just for our sake, just to materialize it, just imagine a celebrity goes to, well, I don't know much about street food, but so what I hear, people love street food, especially in Mumbai and so forth, right? They like pani puri and I don't even know their names, but yeah, so many things, the Bailey, so many something. So rich guys there in India, like Ambani or the Birlas, they're the rich people that celebrate like Amitabh Bachchan and so forth. They decide one day, oh, I'm going to go have some street food. And they go have street food. And whose honor is it? Is it the celebrities or the rich person's honor or the person at the small stall at the stand? It's the person who's receiving the celebrity. And then they take selfies and they post in their social media and so forth. This celebrity, this person could have had this same food, if in fact of better quality even, at his own kitchen or at his own home, or even have it delivered. Yet he takes the effort of going. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He doesn't need anything from us. And we're like, oh, we offered this to the Lord, and we're like taking photo, putting it, sharing it. I'm also guilty of that. My point is, He doesn't need any of this. He is being served by Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrama Sevyamanam. He is served by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis. Who's Lakshmi? Goddess of fortune. He's being served by them. Yet, He's coming here to our house, to our humble house, and accepting service from us. So imagine that. Who can do that? So, in spite that, even if we want to offer anything, we need to depend on the Lord Himself, right? Rice, can I grow rice? No, I buy it from the market. From where did I get it in the market? Some farmer made it. How did the farmer make it? Because of, again, grains that he put in or seeds that he put in. And then where did he put it in? The soil that the Lord gave. And how did it get nutrition? Because of the energy in the moon that Krishna says, I'm supplying life. I'm supplying the juice of life to all the vegetables and fruits and grains through moonlight. And then they need to be watered. From where is water coming? Krishna saying, Krishna is for everything. So we're literally taking Krishna's thing and giving back to him, right? And in turn, who is getting benefited? We are getting benefited. For this is his magnanimity. Now we discussed about the 5 forms that the Lord has or appears in or reveals himself to us in. We can talk about the 8 forms in which he actually comes to us in the form of Archa Vigraha. He takes 8 forms in Srimad Bhagavatam, again in our chapter. So Canto 11, chapter 27, the chapter we're discussing, text 12, he says, Shaili daru mai lauhi pyale kya chisha shaikati manomai mani mai prati mashta vidhi smrita. Shaili, so synonyms. Shaili, made of stone. Darumai, made of wood. Daru Brahman, right? Lord Jagannath. Lauhi, made of metal. Lepya, made of clay, sandalwood, other substances, laid down as paste. Lekya, painted. Cha, and Shaikati, made of sand. Manamai, covered in the mind. Excuse me. Conceived in the mind. Manimai, made of jewels. Pratima, the deity. Ashtavidhi, in 8 varieties. Smrita, it is remembered. Translation: the deity form of the Lord is said to appear in 8 varieties. Stone, stone. Who appeared as stone? Our deity Sri Radha Madhav is marble. Radha Raspihari, marble. Wood. Our Sisinatai Sachinandan, their neem. Metal, Huni, my deity. Sri Golokeshwar Golkapati, all your home deities. What is the next one? Made of clay, sandalwood, and other substance made of paste. Clay. Deities made of clay. Well, you know of examples. And then Lekya, painted. We have amazing paintings by Srila Prabhupada's disciples by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So many devotees don't even have deities and they worship the painting of the Lord. Shaikati, made of sand. And Manamai, conceived in the mind. We've heard of the story of this Brahmana who, out of pure devotion, he decides to serve the Lord. Well, he actually had a deity. But there are devotees who worship the Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mother is mentioning Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is Nrsimhadas Brahmachari had deity in his mind. Oh, he used to serve Mahaprabhu in his mind, but there are people who worship the Lord in their minds. So that. And finally, Manimai, made of jewels. So people who are extremely rich, they serve the Lord in the form of jewels, or made with the form of jewels. So these are the 8 varieties. So Lord Chaitanya, actually, while he glorifies the Sakshi Gopal pastime, which I wanted to share, but maybe I won't owing to lack of time, but I can maybe send you a link or something. It's an amazing pastime if you haven't heard already. If you have heard, you know what I'm talking about. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shares while glorifying the Sakshi Gopal pastime. He says, Pratimana tumi sakshat Brajendra Nanda Vipralagi kara tumi akarya karana Pratimana tumi sakshat Brajendra Nandan Vipralagi kara tumi akarya karan. He says, my dear Lord, you are not a statue. You are directly the son of Maharaj Nanda. Now, for the sake of that old Brahmin, you can do something you have never done before, right? So what we do is not idol, or idol meaning ideally, or idol, IDOL worship, but ideal worship. Srila Prabhupada has given us several teachings as far as deity worship is concerned. And I would like to read from one of his letters in which he remembers his own childhood. He writes a letter to His Holiness Madhudusha Swami on 10th November 1975. Srila Prabhupada says, as a child, when I was going to the neighboring Malik temple, I was thinking then, when will I have such a nice deity to worship? And now Krishna is so kind that I am establishing so many nice temples all over the world. Now I want that there should be established 108 temples before my death. So you think how to do it. Make some program, train up devotees. All temples in Melbourne, London, Paris, Bombay are all very nice. Everything is very bright and brilliant. The deity is proof of the sincere service. It is the duty of the GBC now to maintain this. Their duty is how to infuse them and maintain them. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada also worshipped deities from his very childhood, and we all know that. In fact, the Lilamrita begins with the ringing of the bell. When Srila Prabhupada used to be a child, he used to wake up hearing the bell. Not the alarm clock bell, but the ringing of the bell used by his father, Gaur Mohan De, to worship the deities. Srila Prabhupada credits everything that he is to his spiritual master and to his parents, especially his father, Srila Gaur Mohan De, for the Krishna conscious upbringing that he had and the deity worship which was installed very, very early on in his life. I mean, which kid or which boy growing up in that age would say that he wants to conduct a Rath Yatra, and which father would take the effort of doing that, right? So all glories. So such are the glories of deity worship. There are like literally thousands and thousands of stories on how deities reciprocate with their devotees. Many, many of you know that already. During Narsimha, Lord Narasimha's appearance day also, we had shared some of those past. Some kids took the effort of sharing some pastimes also. So if we have more time, we can share some maybe. We should strive, however, not to neglect our prescribed duties when we're worshipping our deities. This is extremely important. And in fact, we know how Srila Prabhupada reminded us of our responsibilities, and he wrote a letter to one of his disciples, Arundhati Mataji, in Amsterdam on 30th July 1972. He said, "Please accept my blessings. I am in due receipt of your letter dated July 19, 1972. And I'm simply surprised that you have or you want to give up your child to some other person, even they are also devotees. For you, child worship is more important than deity worship. If you cannot spend time with him, then stop the duties of pujari. And at least you must take good care of your son until he is 4 years old. And if after that time you are unable anymore to take care of him, then I shall take care. These children are given to us by Krishna. They are Vaishnavas, and we must be very careful to protect them. These are not ordinary children. They are Vaikuntha children. And we are very fortunate that we are given a chance to worship them and help them advance in their Krishna consciousness. That is a great responsibility. Do not neglect it or be confused. Your duty is very clear. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So Shri Prabhupada's cautioning us not to neglect our duties. In fact, we know the story of Indradyumna Maharaj of current day Orissa, wherein it's a long story, but just to cut it shorter, just to say the essence. He was absorbed in deity worship. He did not pay proper respects or heed to a guest, Agastya Rishi, who once visited him. And because of neglecting to take care of Agastya Rishi, who came during his worship of deity, deity worship, he was cursed. Agastya Muni or Agastya Rishi cursed Indra Maharaj because he didn't give him proper care or attention, in spite Indra Maharaj being engaged in deity worship. So, lesson for us is If our duties are there, we need not neglect them. We can worship our and we need to worship our deities at the same time. So it's all, well, time management and prioritizing. Yet Charita, right? What great men do, common men follow. Although great acharyas are ever liberated pure devotees, they also worship deities. Just to set an example, of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Namacharya Haridas Thakur, however, he told him what? You just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, for him, his deity worship was chanting the holy names. There are actually, if we talk about devotees, there are three kinds of devotees: ancient devotees, recent devotees, and modern devotees. So, ancient devotees are devotees who took birth before Lord Chaitanya. Like, for instance, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu, Swami, Nimbarkacharya, all these great souls. Shankaracharya also, they all worship their own deities actually. Madhvacharya worshipped who? Udupi Krishna deity. Shankaracharya worshipped Narsimhadev deities or shaligrams. Ramanujacharya worshipped Balaji, Ranganatha deities. So, like that, all of these acharyas worship deities. Lord Chaitanya himself worshipped his beloved Lord Jagannath deity in Jagannath Puri. Recent devotees are devotees who took birth after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like all our Gaudiya Acharyas, our Gaudiya Vaishnavas are examples of that. So the seven temples in Vrindavan are whose deities? Deities of our six Goswamis and so forth. So Srila Prabhupada, even as we mentioned, he's the modern Acharya or the modern devotee. He himself, from a very, very young age, he was engaged in worshipping deities. We hear now. I hope I've been able to share all the or able to share the answers that the Lord gave to all the queries posed by Uddhava. We read all this, but it's always nice to hear a pastime of the Lord where he personally interacted with the deity. I see we have 8 minutes, so I'd like to share the pastime of Sakshi Gopal. So at Vidyanagar in South India, there were actually two brahmanas who decided that they'll take a long tour and see like different places of pilgrimage. So first they visited Gaya, then Kashi, then Prayag, and finally the forests of Vrindavan. They saw Govardhan Hill, and finally they came to the town of Vrindavan itself. And in Vrindavan, at the site where Govinda temple is now situated, there was at that time another great temple where a gorgeous worship of Lord Gopal was performed. When the pilgrims visited this temple, the beauty of Gopal deity stole away their minds, and feeling great happiness, they remained there for a few days. Who? These two brahmanas. So one of the two brahmanas was an old man, the other was a younger man. And because the young brahmana always rendered nice service to the old one was pleased with him. I know many of you already know this pastime, so please bear with me. Um, what is the slogan, Srimad Bhagavatam? You keep hearing and you keep loving it. Oh, it's slipping my mind. No, Swadu Swadu Pade Pade. Every step you take, you keep relishing the pastimes of the Lord because it's the same Bhagavad Gita we are going to repeat. It's the same Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the same Mangalati prayers, right? But still, you develop that sweet, sweet nectar. That's the potency of the Lord's pastimes, unlike any mundane literature. So I'll go ahead. So after they stay in this Gopal temple, the older Brahmana told the younger one, "You have rendered such nice service unto me. You have assisted me in traveling to all these places of pilgrimage. Even my own son does not render such a nice service to me. By your mercy, I did not become fatigued while on this tour. So if I do not show you any respect, it would be ungrateful. Therefore, I make a promise to you that I will give my daughter in charity to you." The younger Brahmana replied, "My dear sir, please hear me. You are saying something very unusual. Such a thing has never happened. While you are of most aristocratic family and very well educated and very rich, I am not all that aristocratic. Indeed, I am without a decent education and I have no wealth, sir. "You're not suitable bridegroom for your daughter. I render service to you only for the satisfaction of Krishna. But Krishna is very pleased with the service rendered to Brahmanas. So when the Lord is pleased, the opulences of one's devotional service increases." The older Brahman replied, "My dear boy, do not doubt me. I shall give my daughter in charity, and I have already decided this." The younger Brahmana said, "You have wife and sons. You have a large circle of relatives and friends. Without their consent, you cannot possibly give me your daughter in charity." "My daughter is my own property," the elderly Brahmana said. "And even if I choose to give my property to someone, who has the power to stop me? My dear boy, you don't worry. I shall give my daughter to you in charity, and I shall ignore the position of all others. Don't doubt me on this regard. Just accept my proposal." The younger Brahmana replied, "If you have actually decided to give your younger daughter to me, then say so before the deity of Gopal." And then he takes a solemn vow. Coming before Gopal, the elder Brahmana says, "My dear Lord, please witness that I have given my daughter to this boy, this young Brahmana." In India, the custom is to honor any promise made before a deity, right? That's why during marriage ceremonies, there's fire sacrifice and also a deity. Such a promise cannot be cancelled. In Indian villages, for instance, whenever there's a quarrel between two parties, they go to the temple to settle it. That used to be the custom, unlike now. Whatever is spoken in front of a deity has to be considered true, and then no one ever dare lie in front of a deity. Then the younger Brahmana addressed the deity, "My dear Lord, you are my witness. If necessary, I shall call you to testify one day." After these talks, the two Brahmanas started for home. As usual, the young Brahmana accompanied the elderly Brahmana, as if the older man were his guru or his spiritual master, and rendered service in various ways. He continued what he was doing before. Upon arriving in Vidyanagar, where they started off, each Brahmana went to their respective homes. After some time, the elderly Brahmana became very anxious. He began to think, "I have given my word to a Brahmana in a holy place. What I promised will certainly have to come to pass. I must now disclose this to my wife, sons, and other relatives and friends." Thus, the elderly Brahmana called for a meeting of his relatives and friends, and before them he narrated what took place in front of Gopal. When those who belonged to the family circle heard of the narration of the old Brahmana, they were extremely disappointed. They said, "If you offer your daughter to a degraded family, your aristocracy will be lost. When people hear of this, they'll make jokes and they'll laugh at you." And they started blaming him in such a manner. The elder Brahmana said, "How can I undo the promise I have made in a holy place while on pilgrimage? Whatever may happen, I must give my daughter to the young Brahmana." And he kept getting rejections from the family members. And the elder Brahmana said, "If I don't give my daughter to the young Brahmana, he will call Sri Gopalji as a witness." See, he had that much trust in the Lord's presence and the words. "And thus he will take my daughter by force. So, in any case, my religious principles will become meaningless." And his son was, battling, saying, "No, don't do that. The deity may be a witness, but he is in a distant country back then, or a distant place. How can he come to bear witness? Why are you anxious? Besides, you don't have to flatly deny that you have spoken about such things. There's no need to make a false statement. Simply say that you don't remember what you said. Put the blame on old age, right?" And then he decided to do this. And then when he mentioned this to the younger Brahmana was quite upset. The younger Brahmana said, "My dear gentlemen, please hear me," because they had now called the whole society to hear their problem. "Please hear me, just to gain victory in my argument. This man is lying. He's lying that he's forgotten. Being very satisfied with my service, this Brahmana said to me in his own accord, 'I promise you to give my daughter. I promised to give my daughter to you in marriage.' I forbade him at that time, but he promised and promised and promised. And then I even made him promise in front of the Lord. And accepting the Gopal deity as my witness, I then submitted the following at his lotus feet. 'My dear Lord, if this Brahmana later hesitates to give me his daughter, I shall call upon you as my witness. So now I'm going to call the Lord.' And he did. And the Lord did come. And the Lord expressed exactly what happened. Who, apart from that, will do that? So, can we dismiss the deity of the Lord as just stone, clay, sand, wood? No, he's the supreme personality of Godhead himself. So, once our class is over, once we see the darshan of Sri Nitya Sachinandan, if you have deities of home, or if you even have a picture of the Lord at your home, please go and give them a big prostration and show them and share some love. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, very much for this nice, wonderful class. I think this is very relevant, especially for the Western audience, because this is something very unique in Vaishnavism and in ISKCON, the importance of deities and how to understand deities. Most of the Western devotees I've spoken to oftentimes tell me that that's sometimes the hardest or the most unusual. Everybody can appreciate prasadam. Everybody can appreciate beautiful chanting of the holy name. Everybody can appreciate dancing and friendship with devotees, but it's rare that one can appreciate the love of the deities. Bhaktisanta Maharaj said that to serve Krishna and to serve Krishna's devotees and to chant the holy name are not different. By serving Krishna, one serves his devotees and serves the holy name. By serving the devotees, one serves Krishna and the holy name. And by chanting the holy name, one immaculately, he says the word, one by chanting the holy name, one immaculately serves Krishna and serves his devotees. So not different, because the epitome of chanting the holy name, from what I've read from Harinam Chintamani, is to understand that the holy name is a person. Nam Prabhu. So I think Narottam Prabhu's question was very nice and relevant, and somehow bringing that out in this class is also very nice and relevant. And it's very important for us that that's how we approach, those that are not familiar with culture, is the chanting the holy name. So thank you very much for a wonderful class and relevant class. Do other devotees have questions? I don't know whether, otherwise are we ready to have the darshan? Premarupa Madhavi Mataji ki jai. Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So my understanding is that we will have chanting of the main arti by Gopal. The Singha arti will be Keshav, and Madhusudan Prabhu will have the great fortune to chant the Madhurashtakam today. So if you have chance, you can come to temple and do likewise, offer ghee wick. If you would like to have Damodar Ashtakam or Damodar program at your home, even in COVID lockdown, you can do so. Email was sent out. It can occur virtually on whatever platform you feel comfortable with. Devotees will assist you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anything else you all want to add? No? Narottam Vilas Prabhu, Premarupa Madhavi, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I think if everything's fine, then Gopal, if I don't know whether you're available, can you go ahead and start chanting? And then at 12:50, Keshav can start Nrsingarati.
Can you hear me properly?
I've been accused of speaking too low, so I can't tell you what I can hear, but your volume is low. Maybe come closer to your phone or something like that.
Sure. Okay,
This is good.
Bible. Okay.
Okay.
Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Ganadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Bible.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, the computer died, so we'll continue
Okay.
here.
No worries.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, श्री निताई कृष्ण भगवान की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।
Gopal, thank you for wonderful kirtan. It feels close to being at the temple and hearing you guys chant and all the youth doing chanting afterwards. I'm sure you all miss it. We miss you doing that service. Hopefully soon we'll have more of that. Thank you very much. I think Keshav is going to chant Nrsimha Dev Arti. Keshav, are you ready?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna, Keshav, and Gauri. Thank you. Go ahead and start.
Yeah.
Hari will be there, so you can go ahead.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Shila Kamkhana Kalaye. Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha. Yato Yato Yamita Ko Narasimha. Hare Narasimha, Hare Narasimha. Narasimha Mandir Sharanam Prapade. Tabakara Kamala Bani Nakam Buddha Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danavringa Keshavadita Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare
विघ्न विनाशक नृसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय।
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Keshav Gauri. Hope you're all doing well. Arvind Prabhu, you and Mataji are doing fine as well.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. Devotees blessing, Prabhuji. Krishna blessing. We are doing good, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So, Madhusudan Prabhu, are you ready to chant the Mudrastakam? Nathan Vilas Prabhu, is he online?
Yeah, I don't see him online actually. I don't see him online.
I'll give him a call. Can you show the Mudrastakam lyrics?
Sure, Prabhuji. Yes.
He's going to join in 1 minute. Madhusudan Prabhu will be joining in 1 minute.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Do you want to show maybe the photo of Shishi Radha Damodar?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Since I think the camera is going to keep panning around, right? Thank you. Thank you.
Light यहाँ चलो. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Aditi. श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय. श्री श्री निताय सचिनंदन देव भगवान की जय. नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्. नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्. यशोदाभियोलुखालाधवमानम् परं दृष्टमात्यं ततो द्रुतगोप्या यशोदाभियोलुखालाधवमानम् परं दृष्टमात्यं ततो द्रुतगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजान्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रम् रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रमृजान्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सातङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुःश्वासकम्पत्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रीवं दामोदरं भक्तिवदम् मुहुःश्वासकम्पत्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रीवं दामोदरं भक्तिवदम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वदोषं माख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषु तग्नेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे तदीयेषु तग्नेषु भक्तिर्जितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतावृत्ति वन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवधिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेषदपीह वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवधिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेषदपीह इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्य विरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्य विरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखाम्भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले वृतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तश्च गोप्या इदं ते मुखाम्भोजम् अत्यन्तनीले वृतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बारक्तधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तामलं लक्ष्यलाभे मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बारक्तधरं मे मनस्य विरास्तामलं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देव दामोदरानन्त विष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलब्धिमग्नम् नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलब्धिमग्नम् कृपा दृष्टिवृष्ट्या दीनं बतानु गृहेणास्ममज्ञमेदयक्षिदृश्य कृपा दृष्टिवृष्ट्या दीनं बतानु ग्रहेणे सममज्ञमेदयक्षिदृश्य कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धामूर्त्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च कुबेरात्मजौ बद्धामूर्त्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजो कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्य प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे दामोदरेह तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्य प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे दामोदरेह नमस्ते स्तुदाम्ने स्फुरादीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथा विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमस्ते स्तुदाम्ने स्फुरादीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथा विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jayo Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Sri Radhe, Jayo Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Sri Radhe, Jayo Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Sri Radhe, Jayo Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Radha Damodar, Sri Radhe, Jayo Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jayo Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jayo Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai सच्चिदानंद गौर हरि जय निताय सच्चिदानंद निताय सच्चिदानंद निताय सच्चिदानंद गौर हरि जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जयो जयो प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जला प्रभुपाद जयो जय गुरुदेव 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 जयो जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय श्री श्री निताय सचिनंदन देव भगवान की जय श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव प्रहलाद महाराज की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौड़ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि